Hey, what is up everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into another one of my videos. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Subzero Plus, a project that started as a tomb fork, but they now have a quad token system that is supporting the protocol. Now, before we jump into this video, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell notification as these videos are very time sensitive. Now, in today's video, we're going to primarily start by talking about the platform itself, then going over into what Abzero is and how you can profit from it, and finally we'll be concluding with the tomb fork element of Subzero Plus, which in my opinion is one of the most sustainable models in the game. Now, right off the bat, you guys can see that Subzero has a really nice landing page. This is something that other tomb forks do not have. If we actually scroll down, you guys can see here it says that Subzero is an immutable and renounced protocol comprised of 4 ERC20 tokens on the Avalanche network. The protocol has unique and sustainable mechanisms to encourage long-term staking and providing liquidity. Now, I personally have seen this project before. They have been in the scene for a couple of months now, and more recently they did update their site and introduce the freezer, which is something we will be talking about. Now, of course, this was not financial advice. However, as you guys would have seen in my previous video, I do think it's good to get into projects that are here to stay at more reasonable prices instead of buying the top. That's why I am bringing this video out today. Now, if we scroll down below, you guys can see they go over the quad token system here. I'm gonna let you guys go over here and read these, as I do not want to make the video too boring. However, if we look down here, you guys can see that they do have a project roadmap, which is something I love seeing. And as you guys can see here, they wanted to launch Subzero Plus on March 2022, so they did that in Q2 of 2022, which presumably is by the end of next month. They will be having Z-swap, so there is something in the pipeline, which once again, as I said, buying in now can essentially help price appreciation when these things come out. Now, it is important to note that this protocol did not have the general tomb fork system. They didn't have a Genesis pool, but what they rather had was a pre-sale. Now, if we actually launch their app, you guys can see that the UI is very unique, and without a doubt it is something that definitely caught my eye. Now, the protocol is currently sitting at 0.84 peg, which is pretty close to a peg. And in regards to the team, it is important to note that it is the Papadao team. Now, if you guys don't know what Papadao is, they do have a site. I will leave a link down in the description below of Papadao's site. And here you guys can see they have a whole website dedicated to the Papadao team as a whole, which I must say is very interactive. I really like this website. And it clarifies here exactly what's coming up. As you guys can see, the recent development updates, we had Subzero. It elaborates exactly what we're talking about today, Subzero Plus. They have Papa Chain, which is coming up. It's going to be the first EVM compatible blockchain built with the metaverse and gaming applications in mind. They even have a Medium, so if you guys are curious and want to read about it more, feel free to do so. If you look further, they also have Papa NFTs. So they have a collection of 1,000 NFTs, and as you guys can see, they are very nice. And as a matter of fact, if we actually look into their Discord announcements, you guys can see that recently they did a giveaway to the top 40 Subzero holders. Now, if your address was here, you essentially got a free Papa NFT. All you had to do was pay the gas fees, which I think is a really nice way to involve people into both of their protocols, so the NFT side and incorporating it and making people essentially have Subzero tokens to essentially get that free NFT. And I think that's really smart. Now, it is Now, it is to be noted that this protocol was under peg for a very long time. I do believe for a majority of post launch they were under peg, but recently they did regain peg, and they were printing from, I want to say, about 2 weeks, and the price of the share token actually went from the low of around this $20 mark all the way up to $67. So it was a 3x, and as you guys can see, it always comes down to this price range before going back up. And guess what, guys, we're coming back down here again. Now, a lot of you will know that I am a big trader when it comes to tomb forks, and I personally do like to be in projects that have a future. Now, let's quickly talk about the quad token system. Now, this is a system that is completely different from the normal tomb forks. Now, in normal tomb forks, you have the peg token, so Subzero, the share token, Z share, and then you have the bond token, so that's Z bond. However, what they did is they also created the absolute zero token. Now, what do you do with absolute zero? Well, as you guys can see up here, they have a tab called the freezer. Now, if you click this tab, it clarifies all the information right here. So the freezer APR right now is 360%, and this is an APR that is essentially, I don't like using the word guaranteed. However, it is in lots of senses backed. Now, why do I say that? Well, because of the fact that if you guys actually look back to their page, I took a screenshot for convenience, you guys can see here that 58% was allocated to the public, and the team has gone further by donating another 21.6%, so 73% of the team's tokens. And as such, it is visible that the team is indeed dedicating a lot of their own money and time to the protocol. Now, the other cool thing that the freezer has going for it is the fact that the DAO fund for Subzero Plus is actually allocated to the freezer. Now, what does this essentially mean? Well, as you guys can see here, the DAO fund usually receives 18% of the boardroom print, and it is meant to allow the sale and purchase of tokens above and below peg. Now, it's really important to understand the fact that the Subzero DAO fund, as you guys can see here, this line, is fully redirected to the rewards pool, which releases tokens gradually to Abzero holders, which is clarified here as well, as you guys can see. Now, they have further plans as well to make sure that this is going to be sustainable. As you guys can see, the exchange fees, which is launching soon, as we saw, hopefully in the next month, that is also going to be allocated to Abzero and freezing and the freezer, sorry. The Z-Bank profit share, which is also launching soon, we saw that in the roadmap. The launchpad share of the total Subzero raise, so 20% of the share of the total Subzero raise will be allocated to this. And then the freeze and defrost tax paid by other users. So essentially, when you defrost your Abzero, it carries a 17% tax, similar to a lot of Titano forks. However, this one is obviously providing an APR that is sustainable. And on top of that, it is showing you exactly how the money is essentially going to be coming in. They're not saying, hey, we're going to be paying you because there's other people buying our token. No, but instead what they have is a list of ways that the protocol is going to generate revenue and then redistribute that over to the Abzero holders. So what you would essentially do if you wanted to participate here is head on over to the dashboard. You would then go and buy a Subzero. Now, it is to be noted that Subzero can be bought with both Tomb and AVAX. So if you click buy with Tomb, you'll essentially go and trade your Tomb over for Subzero. And alternatively, if you buy with AVAX, which I assume a majority of people do, you'll essentially convert your AVAX into the Subzero tokens. Now, when you have these tokens, head on over to the freezer, and then you'll be able to deposit your Subzero here. That's going to freeze your Subzero. What you'll get is you'll get some Abzero tokens. What you then do is you deposit your absolute zero tokens here to get a bonus APR on top of that. Now, I'm sure you guys can understand that this is indeed quite advanced, and as such I do think there is going to be a lot of money coming into this protocol, especially because of the fact that the team simply does not want to give up. They're not going to give up, and we can see that because of the fact that they were underpegged for 2 months. They're still working on it. They have lots of future plans. Their roadmap isn't bleak. They are going out of their way to promote marketing, and overall it is visible that they do have a plan in place to make this protocol sustainable for the investors, and that's something I like to see. And obviously on top of that, these guys have a really good designing. I mean, the websites are absolutely beautiful. I can't get over that. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which is the tomb fork part of the protocol, which is the main part of the protocol, is essentially where you can stake. Now, as you guys can see, you're getting almost 300% APR if you simply go and get yourself some Tomb and Subzero. And I personally do think that we're kind of near the bottom of Tomb and the bottom of Subzero. Now, as a lot of you will know, at least if you are watching my videos or if you are part of the community, Tomb Finance dropped drastically in price. But as you guys can see here, in comparison to the rest of the chart, it looks like over the last 2 weeks, the price of Tomb has kind of found a bottom, you know, which is why I personally will be throwing some money into here as well, just because of the fact that I think it's better to buy here, especially taking into consideration the risk to reward ratio. I think the reward is a little bit higher, because the risk may be seen to be more subsided. Similarly, for the share tokens, you guys already know I love trading shares. You guys can see here that in April, the first week of April, we bottomed out at $22. Right here on the 25th of April at $20. Here on the 12th of May around $12. And as you guys can see, we're at that $18 mark. So I do think that once the peg gets a little bit closer, so once we start to see that 0.9, 0.95 peg being obtained, so if you hit our dashboard, you guys can see the peg right here. And alternatively, if you look into their Discord, you guys can actually see all the bots they have right here. The peg is right over here, and it currently shows 0.84. I do definitely think that the price of Z share is going to rocket back up to that $50-$60 range, which from the current price you guys can see is around 2.5x, which is definitely a substantial amount of money, considering the fact that you would also be earning funds in the boardroom, which is currently paying out almost 1300% APR. And if you do the math on that, and you can see it's paying out 3.5% almost every single day. Obviously this is paused until the TWAP comes back up above 1.01, but it is to be noted here that this is indeed going to be printing, and it was printing quite a lot. The other thing I do like is the fact that they have their price listed right here. Pretty convenient. Now, one thing that I would like to see being added here, possibly in the near future, is the daily APR. So instead of me having to calculate this by myself, if they have a slash daily right here, which would show the 3.54%, I think that would be very, very nice and definitely helpful to investors. Now that is going to be it for this video, guys. I definitely suggest you join their Discord. They have a very active Discord, as you guys can see right here. You know, you have the project leads always in the chat. This is Jordan, and even if you scroll up, you guys can see Mark Command. These guys are always active in the chat, showing support and trying to grow their community. So I definitely do suggest you guys go and check it out if you haven't already. Now, with that being said, guys, remember that none of this is financial advice. It's extremely important that you guys do your own research before investing, as tomb forks and DeFi protocols in general are very risky. However, I do think that there is a lot of money to be made here, especially when you have a team like the Papadao team that aren't going to go anywhere and are here to stay. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you guys have an amazing end of the week. And with that being said, guys, as always, let's get that bag. Peace.